Hey, Nicole, what do you call cheese that isn't yours?
Nacho Cheese.
That's a crime, Nicole. You're going to jail. You're going to rot in a cell. This is a hot dog is a sandwich.
Ketchup is a smoothie.
Yeah, I put ice in my cereal, so what?
That makes no sense.
A hot dog is a sandwich.
A hot dog is a sandwich.
What? Welcome to our podcast, A Hot Dog is a Sandwich. I'm your host, Josh Scherer.
And I'm your host, Nicole Enayati.
And we're internet chefs over on the Good Mythical Morning channel. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's what one of them is called.
Okay, and Mythical Kitchen. When we're not making fancy IKEA Swedish meatballs, you can find us here breaking down the world's biggest food debates.
That's right, Josh. And guess what we're going to talk about today?
Prison reform.
Oh.
I'm an abolitionist.
Ooh, what?
Ish. I've read some theory about it, a little bit of praxis. Anyways, what are we talking about, Nicole?
We're talking about nachos and what is the correct way to make nachos. No, is there even a correct way to make nachos?
I feel strongly that if you imagine every single thing on Earth, right?
Got it.
And the processes to make those things.
Yes.
There is a most efficient process for everything insofar as you can control for things like labor efficiency and climate.
Like making a car.
Or like a brick.
Oh.
Like even something as simple as, the pyramids. How were they built? Nobody knows. Aliens? We know via Ben Carson, disgraced presidential candidate.
Wasn't it the Jews?
What?
Didn't the Jews build the pyramids?
They were alien Jews. They were extraterrestrial Jews.
Well, I'm pretty out of this world.
Have you? No, but for real, I do think that there is a most efficient, best way to create damn near everything.
Okay.
If you were to really, again, this is only in theory. This cannot be done in practice because if you're making nachos in one humidity level, that's not going to be the same as another humidity level.
Are you being for real right now?
No, I think I was talking about bricks.
Okay.
But when it comes to nachos, there's a lot of different ways to make it, right?
That's right.
And you can't necessarily account for taste. Different people have different preferences.
I
But I'm
understand
here to tease out our individual taste on nachos to try and figure out if there is. This is the kibitzing. This is the give and take, you know?
Okay.
I've started talking with my hands more, and I think I
Good.
really like it. I'm
I
going to lean
think
into
it's
it.
important. Yeah.
I started doing weird things, though. I've noticed, especially on Guests with Last Meals, one of the shows we produce on Mythical
It's a
Kitchen.
good show.
I do this one a lot. I'm like, in your memoir, you said that.
Really? You do this?
I don't know what it is.
Huh.
It's a way that helps my mind think of things and access memory.
Well, why don't you bring it down here and just do a shake?
You said.
So
get
you
some of
said
that
in your
fun-
last memoir something about your childhood?
This is like fun mom energy, like a mom who drank one too many Sandra Lee recipe sangrias. Mm-hmm. And she's
Those
like,
are
I'm
good.
a fun mom.
I love a good Sandra Lee.
When she sees a good Target deal, she's like,
I love a good deal. I'm trying to be one of those moms one day.
I'm going to be a good mom.
You are a good Okay, nachos?
How do you make nachos?
How do I... Okay, so...
What are the variables that we have to consider? The chip choice.
Chip choice
Chip
is very
choice.
important. Chip choice. I think sheet versus pile is very important.
Sheet versus pile is important. Or if you're piling, how many layers go onto that pile,
That's definitely
important.
involved. And then I think it's the type of cheese you use. If you're using queso, if you're using shredded cheese.
Bingo.
And then the heating method I think is very important.
Yes.
And then accoutrements.
Accoutrements.
Accoutrement.
Nachos are their accoutrement
Yes, I
entirely.
agree.
You know what I mean?
Totally. They are a vessel. The nacho chip is the tortilla chip is a vessel for which the nacho exists.
There's one more variable, and
Okay, what
this
is
comes
it?
straight out of Texas. So,
Yeehaw.
Nicole, do you want a quick history lesson? I know how much you love.
Do
when I
I
go into quick
want
history
one, or are
lessons.
you just going to give me one?
Well, I want you to want me to give you a history lesson.
And I need you to need me to give me one.
I want you to not sue me for using your song. It should be common usage by now.
They're not 100 years old yet.
Who did that song?
I think the rule is 100 years. I want you to want me. I want to say the knack.
Wow, deep cut. That's why the Happy Birthday song is fair use, right? Because they're dead. Good riddance to whoever wrote Happy Birthday. Wow.
Oh,
Tour
cheap
de
trick.
force.
I think the knack wrote My Sharona.
That makes sense. No, so, okay, nachos were invented in Piedras Negras, Coahuila, Mexico.
Piedras Negras.
Piedras Negras. It is
Cool.
basically a border town. It's very, very close to the Texan border.
Right.
There were a lot of American GI stationed there, especially during World War II. And Nacho is literally the nickname for somebody
Diminutive
named
term, yeah.
Ignacio.
Yes, that's true.
Right, it was really funny because I remember growing up, I heard somebody named Nacho. I was like, "You're named after the food." It's like, no, the food was named after a homie
me.
named Nacho. So Ignacio Anaya, the chef at the Victory Club. So the legend goes, this probably never happened, as we've talked about often on this show.
Sure.
A bunch of military wives come in, and this guy's the maitre d' at the Victory Club, and they go, "We're hungry. We want some food," and he inexplicably goes, the chef isn't here, I will make you food.
Of course.
I don't know in what context that would ever happen, but apparently it happened. And he goes and he takes 2 tostadas,
Okay.
which is like a chip, but a whole-ass
A
tortilla.
whole ass tortilla that is fried and dehydrated into a chip.
Exactly. And he covers it in cheese, and he puts it in the salamander, the broiler.
Great.
And it was a grated yellow cheddar, too.
Cool.
Wisconsin cheddar, in fact. And then puts pickled jalapenos on it. Yeah. And that was it. So the original nacho recipe is
A tostada.
a full tostada. And if you go to Texas to these days, what people will call Texas-style nachos, I'm not saying every nacho plate in Texas does this, but I'm saying it is something that is known as Texas-style nachos. Big-ass chips, often 2-biters, and they are each individually designed.
Oh,
so
that's
each one
so
has the
nice.
perfect amount of toppings. So you're making it like what are those canapes? It's like a canape.
Wow.
It's like a Tex-Mex canape.
Like how big? Show me with your hand how big like it would be. Like each nacho.
I'm trying to make
is
like a
this
triangle,
big?
but it'll be like that
This
big.
is how
like
you make a triangle. Look at how I'm doing it.
Oh, I'm dumb.
Okay, so I'd say it's
like that
about the
big.
size of like the palm of my hand, which is quite small.
Imagine like the biggest chip in any bag of chips, and they're all the biggest
All of them
chip.
are that big.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
incredible.
And I find that to be a very compelling nacho experience.
I agree. I've never had a nacho experience like that. Like each nacho is curated. Oh, that
Yes.
sounds great.
Because one of the fun parts of eating nachos is trying to construct the perfect bite. However, imagine if you had the perfect bite on every single nacho.
I wouldn't want that though.
But you wouldn't. You want the
don't think-
variance.
I love the idea of finding the big kahuna, the perfect chip. And sometimes I never find it. And you know what? I'm still wholly satisfied with the nacho eating experience, even though I don't have the big kahuna chip.
There's something satisfying about the imperfection of
I
a plate of
agree.
nachos.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite things. So if you pile nachos too high and the toppings are there's like a solid 50 to 60% of chips that don't have any toppings on them.
Yeah, it's underneath and the perimeter that
yeah.
always are lacking. But sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, depending on how delicious and intense all the things you put on top, that little side chip that's naked is actually really special.
Palate cleanser chip.
And it's a palate
cleanser chip.
It's a palate cleanser chip, and it's really good for sharing because maybe there's spinach and artichoke dip on that side, and you want to dip it in there. I'm not lying.
I agree with you.
But yeah, I think having some naked and some fully formed chips are the beauty. It's the bitter and the sweet of nacho building, and I think it's important for those chips to exist.
Wabi sabi, dude.
Wabi
Beauty lies in
sabi,
imperfection. I love the sour cream only chip as a palate cleanser. There's always one chip that only has sour cream on it,
Oh
and
my
you're
gosh.
like, yo, I just burnt the crap out of my mouth with a bunch of habanero hot sauce. Maybe you had some El Yucateco. Maybe you had some Marie Sharps. Maybe you had some Mexico Lindo.
Wow, you
habanero.
love all these hot sauces.
I love habanero
They're
hot sauces.
all of them. I can see all of their packaging in my head right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Like, phew, phew,
Mexico
phew.
Lindo would be better if they didn't use as much food dye. It's just kind of cheap.
Yeah,
It
why
cheapens
is
it a little bit
so-
for me.
it's-
It cheapens it a little bit.
It's a very food dye.
Very food dye. But
Yeah, yeah.
anyways, it's very good. But what I like to do is I take the unseasoned chips on the bottom. They're still crunchy.
Okay.
And I will find the Big Daddy chip that has the most toppings on it, too many toppings on it, bring an unseasoned chip, sandwich it on top, and I take great pleasure in being able to try and game theory out every single nacho on that plate until they're gone.
I see.
So-
I see. So you bring them together. You don't allow them to exist separately.
Sometimes I do, but I agree with you that, you have to do that. So the point is Texas-style nachos where each one is individually dressed, though that is a compelling experience occasionally.
Sure, I get
don't
it.
think can be the perfect way to
I
eat
agree.
nachos.
I agree.
Okay. What
Now-
kind of chip do you use? Let's start at the base.
Okay. It's normally Tostitos.
Use Tostitos.
Tostitos restaurant style.
You don't think they're too thin?
I kind of like how thin they are,
Interesting.
but that's just me. I try to do either salted or salted with a hint of lime, if so permits.
Yeah.
I also like, what are the really yellow ones that are circular? The really
Are you talking about
yellow.
the Mission? Like because I grew up eating the Mission,
Mission.
one strips, and they'll do white and yellow.
No, I like the Mission rounds sometimes.
Yeah.
Now, it depends on what kind of cheese application I'm doing. Now, I think it's very
Interesting.
important to state that
Bro,
the
you're like a
concept-
nacho sommelier.
Yeah, you didn't know this about me?
No, I didn't know you didn't put that on your
You listened to
resume.
me about- yes, I did. You just don't read the fine print. So I recently got into queso making. I used to never melt cheese in a pot. I'm not kidding. Like I used to just be a bag cheese, put on the chips, put it in the oven, top. That was my MO.
Yeah.
But now that I'm like, dude, I'm a chef. Like I know how to cook things. I know how to cook things well. So the concept of queso has been introduced into my home. So I just take I like make my own queso from scratch. I chop my own. I get like the canned chilies and stuff. I chop my tomatoes, whatever. I throw it in there. It's really beautiful. I make a really bomb queso, and then I put that on there. And then sometimes I broil it. Sometimes I don't broil it.
If there's queso on there, you're still broiling it?
Sometimes.
Crazy.
Yeah. Well, the thing about my household is that we like really burn foods. Like we like crusty, crunchy. Like the concept of crunch is very important in our house. So
I like how you act like that's only a your house thing, and that isn't like a thing that many other people like. You're like, well, I'm really quirky.
It's not that I'm quirky. It's like the singed chip is really good. You know that one little singe on the chip? That's really important. And then it's always got to have guacamole. Doesn't always need sour cream. Lots of chopped veggies. I love putting like raw onion all over it and raw jalapenos. And then sometimes I do what are they? The little pickled jalapenos. Sometimes, but mostly it's all about raw and like sliced really thin on a mandolin. And then sometimes I put meat on it. Like I always have like a bag of like frozen brisket that I made from like 3 months ago. So I just like defrost it. And,
Use
like,
the leftover meats?
I use the leftover meats always. And that's all she wrote. And I do it always on a sheet pan. I never pile it on. Like I never do a pyramid of chips. Never. I'm all about the straight sheet pan style. And it's really good.
I was more just asking about the chip and wanted to go layer by layer, but that's
I'm
fine.
So sorry.
No, we
I got
okay.
impassioned and I got a little bit flushed. I'm sorry. Sometimes I can't help myself.
It is getting hot in her indeed. The Tostitos restaurant style chips to me, they're slightly too thin. I've been weirdly brand loyal.
Them.
They're good, and they remind me of going to the Chili's.
Okay.
The Chili's.
What is Chili's?
What do you mean, what is Chili's? Chili's is like the
I'm just
biggest...
kidding. I know what Chili's is.
Cheese and rice, Nicole. Chili's
I scared you, didn't I?
Chili's is Bobby Flay themed Applebee's.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, I know what Chili's is. I was just pulling your leg for like a second.
Don't you ever scare me like that again.
I'm sorry. I promise I won't.
I have drained so many free chips and salsas from a Chili's in my life.
I do that everywhere I go.
Oh my God. The hot chips, they're so thin. I think it stretches the margins at Chili's. The salsa is so watery. You got to
watery.
Slurp up
Canned
a little
watery,
bit.
Yeah.
So though I do love a Chili's experience, I don't think they're great for nachos because to me, it doesn't hold up enough. But you can also get chips that are too thick. To me, Mission corn chips, a bit too thick, a bit too corny. In a way that I would normally like on its own, but
they're
I also
so corny.
They're very corny, and I don't know. It's got a very pronounced toasted corn flavor.
Very pronounced. It's the only thing you taste when you're making nachos, which is why I like the Tostitos, the thinner restaurant style ones.
Yeah,
because they are a nice foundation to build your nacho upon.
A blank canvas.
Yes, and I like that about the Tostitos.
Like a
chip.
communion wafer.
Yes. Oh, let's make communion wafer nachos.
I think Dennis Lee, aka Fart Sandwich, follow him on Twitter.
Or
I believe
Vulgar
he
Chef.
did that.
Either
or.
Or maybe both of them. Sounds like something they would both do.
They're both great artists.
Yeah, we love you guys. Sorry, I got a little bit sidetracked.
Occasionally, I will use, if you go to like a Mexican grocery store or a lot of restaurants will just sell this, like their homemade chips, which is how...
the totopos?
Totopos.
Totopos.
Which is how chips were invented. You take stale corn tortillas, you drop them in a fryer, and those tend to have a much heftier, shattering crunch, and especially when those get soaked in layers of liquidy cheese, of salsa, of meat juices, they still hold up.
Yeah.
But those are sometimes too obstructive for me.
Yeah.
Santitas white corn chips.
Good. Yeah.
That is my ideal nacho chip. I've been using it for years.
Okay. See, I like those for dipping into salsa. Those are the perfect salsa chip for me.
Listen, I like my nacho chips like I like my salsa chips. There's no punchline to that. It's just a thing I was saying. And then the next thing that we got to decide on, melted cheese versus like queso líquido.
Do you judge people that put like shredded cheese over it and then they broil it? Do you judge?
Silently, I do, and I shouldn't. Because
I used
it's
to
still,
be her.
Yeah,
I used to be her.
Especially if it's. I just think it makes for a much worse nacho eating experience. Even though that was the original nacho recipe, right?
Yeah.
But for me, when you do that, you're generally using pre-shredded bag cheese.
Always a 3 Mexican blend,
and it never melts well. Especially if you're using the really finely shredded, because it's caked in so much anti-caking agent
it is.
that it just like it doesn't quite melt. You can still see the strands. It gets really tough after like 3 minutes out. If you're putting cold ingredients on it, it just hardens into like a paste.
Yeah.
You're picking up 6 nachos at a time.
Yeah.
You know? But if you're using a quality cheese and you're melting it over the top,
but no one's doing that.
No one's doing that, and I think maybe they should.
I think it's improper to use bag cheese, but it's just so nostalgic that sometimes you have to do it.
I agree.
Do you know what I mean?
And you kind of, if the cheese gets too hard, you kind of wet it with a jalapeno juice. and that
No,
relivens it.
No, it doesn't. It makes it weird and coagulating.
No. It's nice. You chew it. It's like a sponge for the jalapeno juice.
You know what you need to do? Instead of putting it in the broiler, you got to microwave it for like 18 seconds and then broil it.
Oh,
That's what
microwave
you have to
nachos?
do. You got to microwave it and then broil it, and then that can work.
That was childhood. That was microwave nachos childhood.
Yeah, that's good. See, that's where shredded cheese makes sense. If you know how to like do the processing properly, then it can work. But if you're just like throwing it and then boiling, it's not going to work out. But if you do the melting and then the broiling, there is promise in that nacho.
I'm just a big fan of liquids. You know how much I love wet foods.
Yeah, but you don't drink water.
I drink so much water.
That's
What are you
sparkling
talking about?
water.
Sparkling water is water. What do you think the main ingredient is? Nicole, if I were to drink...
Sparkles.
No, hold up. If I were to...
Sparkles.
Hear me out. If I were
My whole
to
life
drink
is hearing you out. What's up?
every single thing in the world is just a composite of its parts, right? It's the gestalt. You know what I mean?
Please don't
Nicole,
talk about gestalts with me.
I'm going to talk about gestaltianism. So if I were to drink a 12-ounce thing of plain water and then just huff a bunch of CO2, would you say that I don't drink water?
No, I'd say you drink water.
But those are the same ingredients that are in this. I'm doing this. This is the same thing as me huffing CO2 and drinking 12 ounces of flat water.
If you were huffing CO2, I would call some people. I'd have to make some personal calls.
You've never seen me just crouching behind the cars in the alley just huffing CO2?
No, I don't. Okay, let's
Taking
stay
the
on
paintball canisters?
Let's stay on the topic, young man.
I was on topic.
Sorry.
I said I like wet foods. You said,
love
but you
liquids.
never drink water.
Sorry, it's my fault. You love
attacked
liquids.
me. I feel attacked. I feel like I'm on a Bravo. Is
I'm
Andy Cohen
sorry.
here? I feel like I'm on a Bravo reunion
Maggie's
show.
Andy Cohen.
Maggie, say something pithy. Nailed
That's
it.
pretty good.
So I love cheese sauce, but the only exception is I think there's three main components to nachos that could be considered soupy.
Okay.
But you have a choice to make them soupy or not.
Okay.
Sour cream and salsas, those are by definition going to be soupy, right?
Sour cream is not a soupy liquid.
Like a crema.
Okay.
You know
fair.
what I mean? Like some
Mexican
sort of, but
crema,
it's
yeah,
still wet. It's still wet. We can agree.
Okay.
Oh, guacamole. Guacamole's wet.
It's not soupy.
It's not soupy, but it's wet. Let's say wet.
Okay.
Imagine I never said soupy. We said wet.
Okay.
Nicole, there are three ingredients that could possibly go on nachos that you could either make wet or dry.
Okay.
Beans. You can either make a soupy, liquidy bean, or you can put whole beans on them, and I love beans.
I like on nachos, I think that refried beans are better than black or pinto.
I generally agree with that, but hear me out here.
I don't
wanna. Nicole, you're legally contracted to hear me out.
I know, it
you
sucks.
signed the employee handbook.
Sucks.
I don't like it, you don't like it, but we're here.
I love
Meats.
it.
You can make wet meats or you can make dry meats.
I like wet meats.
I tend to like wet meats too. I like a nice braised beef. I like a nice liquidy Taco Bell style ground beef.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Or you could have grilled steak or grilled chicken. And then cheese. You can either have wet cheese or drier cheese. You can have a like melted broiled cheddar or a cheese sauce. So to me, you have to balance the three, and you can only have two be wet and one has to be dry.
I love wet nachos.
But would you have? Hear me out. Would you do? This is the way Taco Bell does it. Taco Bell's nachos are just 7 different wets on top of chips.
Oh my God, I just had a revelation.
Huh.
I love wet nachos.
Nicole,
What is
welcome.
wrong with me? I don't like this.
No, welcome. You
They're
gotta
all
let it.
wet.
And that's how it should be.
Oh my God.
And I hear the people, Nicole. I hear the people complaining. Oh,
This
they
whole
get
thing.
soggy after 3 minutes.
It doesn't matter.
I don't believe in this gendered phrase, but I'm gonna say it because I mean it. Man up. Eat soggy nachos, okay?
Oh my God. I love wet ass nachos.
Some wet ass nachos.
Wet ass nachos are the best.
Get a bucket and a mop for the wet ass nachos.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, you're talking about Taco Bell, but this is like the craziest
No,
thing I've
Taco
ever
Bell has the wettest nachos in the game,
Yes,
and that's
they
why
do.
they're so good.
They do. It's because they put, you know what it is? They throw all the liquids in the middle, and then
Yeah.
they allow the edges to kind of like dance on the top like
Yeah.
little flamingo wings.
You get one little reprieve from the wet.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of dry as a treat with Taco Bell nachos because you get an edge chip that's not fully submerged, but then you get back to what you were there for.
Oh,
the
wow.
soupy volcano pool in the middle.
Oh,
Because they'll put
wow.
that red sauce that they maybe call enchilada sauce
I
despite
guess.
not having a single enchilada on the menu in about 20 years. Then you get the liquid nacho cheese. Then you get their beans, which is literally just 80% boiling water and bean powder. And then you get their beef, which we actually know is only 77% beef, and the rest of it is wet.
That's crazy.
And you get like a single piece of white tomato on top.
Has to be white.
Yeah, it was
Has to be
picked.
white.
It was like grown in
Whiter than
a
the sour
greenhouse in Iceland or something. Nobody knows. So
Yes?
you fully co-signed just a pure wet plate of nachos.
I mean, this is news to me, but yes, I love wet. Everything you said about what makes the better experience is wet. But what else we have to talk about is the layers. How many layers make a good nacho dish?
I am ethically opposed to double layering nachos. We're not making lasagna. We're not making lasagna. We're not making lasagna. It's got to be a topping and that's it.
But what about for a crowd?
What about for a crowd? You go wider. This is the same thing with hamburgers. Big hamburgers should not be taller. They should be wider.
Okay.
Big nachos, more surface area. You'd put a tablecloth, not a tablecloth, whatever Dexter uses when he murders somebody.
Polyurethane.
Big old polyurethane tarp over your entire table. Pour all the chips out and you wet them with all your nacho toppings. People come in. They take a bite. They have a good time. They say, wow, you're such a gracious host.
Josh, most of the time I'm normally butting heads with you like a ram, but I really, really respect you right now for opening my eyes and my ears to this whole discussion.
It means a lot to me, Nicole,
You're
for you
right.
to be able to supplicate yourself.
Yeah, no.
And do that.
Everything you're saying is making sense like a million times over. Do you feel good about it? How do you feel?
I don't know. I feel like a dog chasing a car where I've been waiting for this moment for so long. And now that it's here, I'm just like, well, it's just a car. I see cars all the time. It was driving, so I was chasing it, but now it's parked.
I'm like a dog chasing a
dog chasing a car. My father was a drinker. And a fiend.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Heath Ledger. This is devoted to you. Can we get the in memoriam, Maggie, on the screen? Thank you so much. I just learned about. Anyways. What other variables are there in nachos that we have to go with? Because there's other forms of nachos. Movie theater nachos, ballpark nachos.
Hate both of them.
You do.
I don't
hate
get
like
them.
the ultra processed, simple.
I don't like it ultra processed. I like it a little bit amped up, just turned up a little bit.
You know, we've never done like a nacho battle. We do a thing on the Mythical Kitchen where we just pick a food and see who can make the better version of it. It's not the most creative thing, but it's the thing we have the most fun doing.
We have a lot of fun doing it.
Because we just get to cook dank food.
Yeah.
We've never done a nacho battle.
Would you like to do one?
Well, yeah, let's figure it out right now. Like what would give it away. Make? We did a queso battle and we both made really awesome quesos.
Yeah,
I think we're all super proud of. You sabotaged me, but that's fine.
It was not a sabotage. It was an accidental. How can it be sabotage if it's an accident?
Listen up, y'all. It's a sabotage. People. You know that. The BC Boys said it. That song was about you.
No, it wasn't. I wasn't even born yet. Or was I? I don't even know. Okay, so what nachos would I make? Let me think.
So I'm just trying to think about my absolute ideal platonic nacho.
Would you make homemade nacho chips? I keep calling them nacho chips. Would you make homemade tortilla chips?
I think I might. If I'm talking about trying to make the best plate of nachos, I think I would ditch Santitas and I think I would use, I don't know if I'd make them homemade, but I'd at least get like from like Vallarta.
Yeah.
They'll sell like 10-pound bags of them. They're awesome.
I think I'll do Vallarta chips.
Yeah.
I think I'll get Vallarta chips. I think what I would do is make this is what I made last time I made nachos and they were killer. I would do a habanero jack queso. It was really good. Yeah. And then I would make my own salsa. I would make probably a red salsa and a fire roasted green salsa.
Yeah.
And then I love the brisket I use, but I think I like chicken nachos. Not everybody likes chicken nachos. And then I would probably make like a sour creamy cilantro lime situation. And then just a big ass scoop of avocado. Not even guacamole, just like smashed avocado with like lime juice and stuff. Maybe some radishes. Some serranos.
It's funny the way that we talk about guacamole. I know we've talked about this to death, but the way that we think, like you just said, like not even guacamole, just smashed lime or smashed avocado with lime and salt. Yeah. But that's like what a lot of people in certain parts of Mexico do consider a guacamole.
I guess it's a simple guacamole.
But if we went to like a restaurant and ordered that in America, people would be like, where's the cilantro? Where's the onion? Whatever.
And I don't need that.
Yeah, that's really funny.
Yeah, I don't need that in like a good guacamole. If the avocado is good enough, it can stand on its own. If it needs a little bit of help, you can throw in the other stuff, And then I guess some pico and I wouldn't put chicken. That's a lie. I wouldn't put chicken. I would do a pulled beef situation.
Yeah, a wet meat, if you will.
Braised wet meat. I don't know if I would add beans to a nacho battle. I don't know if I would. But if I had to, I would do really, really wet refried beans, like the wettest. Like really wet. And then that would be it. I do love a pop of color and a pop of like freshness, so I think that like radish and like red onion would really save the day. But that would be probably the nachos I would make.
Wow.
Yeah, sounds pretty good, right?
I kind of had an epiphany in my mind that goes against a lot of the things that I say about wet food because I don't think I would make a nacho cheese sauce. I'm thinking about
what would you make?
I would ideally want right now, the flavors I want in my mouth when I'm thinking about eating a corn chip. My single favorite corn chip that I've ever eaten in any context in the city is at Guelaguetza, Oaxacan. They serve you a plate of chips
it's so
with
good.
with 3 of their 7 moles.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
They have all 7 regional moles of Oaxaca on the
so
menu.
good.
And it's just chips and mole to me is the single like best thing.
Oh, wow.
But if you were to make a nacho platter out of a lot of these Oaxacan flavors, Oaxaca also has my favorite beans. They just call it like pasta de frijol negro. The recipe is in the Guelaguetza cookbook, which is a
you've
fantastic
made
cookbook.
it before.
We've made it before. It's avocado leaves are what give it its signature, and they're very, very soupy, very, very good,
they're
very
so
fragrant.
beautiful.
Drizzle that on the chips. You make
yeah.
like a mole coloradito, right?
Which is my favorite mole.
It's it's mole negro is like, a little dark and chocolatey. Coloradito, you get a little bit of that spice, a little bit of that complexity, toasted chili flavor. Put mole coloradito on there with the black beans. You do quesillo, not melted. The cheese gives you the chew.
Oh, really? So tell people what quesillo is.
So quesillo, Oaxacan string cheese, people call it. If you
Yeah.
imagine kind of American string cheese, but even more of that like kind of protein snap and even a little bit more salt.
Is it braided sometimes?
It's braided
Yeah,
often. It'll
yeah.
shred finer too, but
Yeah.
it eats like a protein, like a paneer almost.
So
but it's a lot
yeah.
saltier than paneer and a lot chewier.
And yeah, it's like not as curdy. Paneer
Yeah.
has like curds. This is more of just like string cheese.
And I don't know if I would put any meat on there. I wouldn't want to distract from the
Wow.
mole using like barbacoa or something like that. I didn't think adding grilled chicken to it would just be another layer of texture that I don't want. I think I go no meat. I do pickled onion. I do fresh chili. I do cilantro.
That sounds great.
No crema. Boom. That is exactly what I want in a loaded
That
chip
sounds
eating
delicious.
experience.
Yeah, that sounds
Sesame
really
seeds
good.
on top because of the mole.
Ooh. Does mole coloradito have a strong sesame flavor? I wouldn't consider.
No, I do
would've
that
never-
on mole negro.
Yeah.
No sesame seeds.
It's all about editing, Josh.
No sesame. A duca. I'd make a duca.
Duca. Oh no, please don't.
Duca.
Do that.
I do a Vietnamese banh mi nachos.
Oh no, it's okay.
Banh mi
It's okay.
nachos.
Josh, your first iteration was perfect, but I think what we learned today is that there is no correct way to make nachos unless they're wet.
The wrong way to make I went to a restaurant that had banh mi nachos, and it was the worst way to make nachos.
Yeah, I feel like I
It
would
was-
just
what a
be very
poor-
upset about it.
You've made nachos significantly worse. You've made
Yeah.
banh mi significantly worse.
Exactly. The
We're
flavors
never
could
going
work.
back.
The flavors could work.
Hey, head to Sporked and check out their guide to the best nacho toppings. They've tasted and ranked everything from the best tortilla chips to the best vegan shredded cheese, even the best black olives, because, according to them, there really is a difference. All right, Nicole, we've heard what you and I have to say. Now it's time to find out what other wacky ideas are rattling out there in the universe. It's time for a segment we call
Opinions are like casseroles.
Oh, let me hear the music in it.
Opinions are like casseroles. Yeah.
Hey, Christina Aguilera, that was good.
I know.
All right, let's get to our first voicemail.
I know it was good.
I know.
Calling from Louisiana. You know how people like put cheddar on like apple pie?
Yeah.
Well, I was cooking apples for an apple pie, cooking them down, brown sugar, butter, whatnot.
Yes, sir.
And when I was done, I still had all the residue left in the pan. So I figured, boom, flip it, apple grilled cheese instead of cheese on apple pie. So I made
Yes.
a grilled cheese
Yes, sir.
in the residue from the
Yeah.
apples I was cooking down, and probably the best grilled cheese I've ever had.
Yeah.
So yeah, love the podcast. Yeah, you two are great. Bye.
Thank you. That was delicious. I could taste that right now, and I'm so happy.
The man's got ideas.
Yeah,
the
good
man's got
ideas.
bars.
Good ideas.
I don't love cheddar cheese on apple pie. I think precisely for the reason that he's talking about.
Do some people put American cheese on it, or is it a slice of cheddar?
I think slice of cheddar is like
Okay,
typical.
got it.
I understand the idea of it, but like I'd
Yeah.
rather if you bake cheddar into the crust, I think it's pretty solid. We've made a Cheetos apple pie. It's really
I
good.
love the cheddar cheese in the crust.
Same.
Yeah.
But to me, like the ratios are kind of off when it's just like a
Sure.
slice of sweaty cheddar, but the ratio is right on track. If I don't know about frying it in the residue, is that what he said, or do you
Yeah.
like smear it in on the bread?
I would have smeared it on the bread, but frying it on the outside is a really unique way of doing it.
Caramelize it. That's
Yeah,
a trip.
it sounds good.
But a little bit of just cooked down sugary apples. You get that tartness too, a little bit of freshness with
Yeah.
the cheese in the bread, but then the bread's still like the star, and the apples and cheese are accenting it. That is bangeranging right
Yeah,
there.
sounds really good.
Damn. And there's a common what do they call it? It's like cheese. It's like a cheese toasty with chutney. It's like a very common kind of like Indian
I've never heard
little
of that.
snacky.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll just put like a sweet fruit chutney in a grilled cheese type of thing. It's a very British colonial, kind of thing. There's one brand of cheese that was very processed that was popular in India for a long time.
Baga?
No, I don't think it was that.
I don't know.
Anyways, but yeah, that's like a very common thing and absolute delight.
You know what I love to do? Brie cheese.
Girl.
Raspberry preserves.
More like Brie Larson.
You just killed it. Just next opinion, please. It's fine.
Nicole's
No,
listening. Brie
it's
cheese,
chill.
raspberry preserves.
Yeah, and I just put it in between sourdough and I fry it with butter. It's really good.
It's not about Brie Larson at all.
Josh, obviously not.
You promised me Brie Larson. Next thing.
Hey, Josh and Nicole. My name is Abby from Central Valley, California.
Central Valley!
Today, I thought of you guys because not only was I listening to your podcast, but my Filipino aunt made me one of my favorite Filipino snacks, which is getting a pandesal, which is essentially a homemade Filipino dinner roll, slicing up a hot dog diagonally.
Yes.
So, it's almost butterflied, and then spreading some mayo on the pandesal and making a little sandwich, and it made me think, a hot dog is a sandwich. Thank you guys. Love you guys. Wow, that was really nerve-wracking.
Oh, how sweet.
We did a podcast called What's the Most American Food? And we said hot dog. It also might be the most Filipino food. There's a basketball team called Pure Foods, is a brand in the Philippines. They're called Pure Foods Hot Dogs.
That's awesome.
And I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Pandesal, mayonnaise, and processed meat
sounds like heaven.
A great sandwich. Jollibee, they got rid of their dollar
started.
sliders.
Their dollar sliders are my favorite thing in the whole world.
Did you go corned beef or Spam?
I would do all of them.
Same. Yeah, one of each.
There was 3, right?
I only had corned beef and Spam. What was the other one?
Beef, and there was one other one. I can almost guarantee it, but I think I would just get all of them and just dole it out throughout the day.
Oh God, it's so good.
So good. Was it with pandesal?
Yeah, it was little pandesal rolls.
It was. Oh, please, Jollibee, bring it back. It was one of the best things about living in LA. You would make a wrong turn, hey, it's freaking Jollibee, bro. Time to turn into the drive-thru. I don't care for their chicken joint, but the pandesal $1 Sammys were one of the best things I've ever had from a fast food joint.
Could not pass Jollibee without just turning in and then seeing what seasonal pie flavor they had.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Also, Central Valley. Where are you from? Visalia? Shout out Visalia.
Have you ever had the Jollibee spicy chicken sandwich?
Yes, one of
with
the best.
The fresh jalapenos on it.
One of the best in the game.
It is so underrated. People don't talk about it enough. The Jollibee spicy chicken sandwich.
They came in pretty late to the chicken sandwich wars, but never too late.
Unbelievably delicious with a side of
good.
honey mustard. Highly recommended. Please, if you're listening to this podcast, please try it if you have a local Jollibee, and then message me, not Josh me.
I like their spaghetti.
Okay.
Hey guys, my name is Garrett. I'm from Spokane, Washington. Spokane pizza is not a thing.
That's not
but
true.
I'm curious what you think the next burger fad is going to be. You have those thick burgers like Gordon Ramsay burgers, and now you have these smash burgers. What do you think the next burger fad is going to be? Let me know.
It.
Bye guys.
I got it. It's all over my feed right now. You ready for it?
Yeah.
Big Mac tacos. You ever seen those?
Yes, you're talking about the smash taco.
The smash taco is the next burger revolution, and people will be doing it everywhere.
I think it's a fad. That is...
Yeah, what's the next fad? Isn't that what they asked?
Well, but I think it's a fad that's never actually going to go mainstream. I think...
You think so?
I think when we're talking about... Because smash burgers... Right, we can call it a fad, but everything's cyclical.
Yes, that's true.
Most popular burger spot that really blew up in LA was Burgers Never Say Die.
I've still never been.
It's good. I mean, they're all good. That's the thing, is they're good, but to me, there's a ceiling of how good they can be.
Yeah.
I find myself having a fair amount of nostalgia for the thick, fancy burger days. Not necessarily going to a restaurant and paying $26 for a sit-down burger with raclette and comté or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, Umami Burger, to me,
yeah,
they did a great job at making a very good, $12, $13. I'm sure inflation now it's more. I haven't been there in a long time.
It's been a long time, yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm hoping that we get some sort of return to that. You know what I mean? Because I don't know what other options are there. Patty melts, fancy patty melts. That we kind of even had that moment in LA a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a place called Cassell's Hamburgers.
Which is phenomenal.
Shout out to Top Chef alum Elia Abumrad, who used to work there.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. But and Patrick Q is or was the general manager
no
at
way.
Cassell's. But anyways, I would love for patty melts Should be a thing. A thing that I think has been neglected in the burger discourse is buns. The ramen burger had its fad, all that, but I think like people making more conscious decisions about the type of bun, because the artisan bread movement is so big, right? You have bakeries like, we went from the La Brea Bakery era started by Nancy Silverton to, like the Tartine era where they're making these crazy wet, hyper high hydration breads. Mm-hmm. I would love to see somebody really perfect the burger bun in a great way.
Okay.
And then that be used as the vessel, like market produce driven burgers on artisan buns. That's what I want.
I want to see the burger taco happen in real time.
Really?
But instead of the taco, it's just a flattened out bun.
Oh,
I want to see it happen. I want to see people take the buns. You have it's one order. It's a top bun and the bottom bun. They flatten it out. They put the meat on. They flatten that out. They cook it on the top, similar to smash burger. They put the cheese on. They put the toppings on. You eat it like a taco. I think that would be so fun to see throughout America.
That's just lahmacun.
I know. I get it. But not really, because it's smaller. It's more compact. You fold it up. Lahmacun, you don't always fold up. Sometimes you tear it. Sometimes you roll it, depending on what country you're in. I love that idea, and I want to see it happen.
Arrayes.
Oh my God.
Arrayes are great.
I love arrayes.
So arrayes, you make like a very spiced ground meat mixture, and then you stuff that into a pita while the mixture's still raw. You grill it off on both ends, and then you bake it.
I love it.
It's almost like a bit of like a waushi kind of, I believe, is an Egyptian
I'll call it a waushi. Yeah.
term. That would be a fun one. But again, as far as like taking over, mainstream American
I don't
taste,
think it's gonna happen. I think it's between thick burger and smash burger. We're just gonna fluctuate between those sizes.
Patty melts on hyper high hydration Kamut wheat emmer rye bread. That's the next fad.
Hey, did you ever have the waushi place on Westwood?
Juicy Lucy's. The cheese is inside the burger.
Wait, listen to me. Did you ever have it?
The Waushi's in Westwood?
Do you know what I'm talking about?
At Bella Pita?
Did we talk about this
I
already?
have had so many. They got me to crave fried cauliflower when I was drunk because they were open till 2 a.m. You and I could have crossed paths.
I've been going there since
I was like 15.
Well, you look really different.
Yeah, I didn't expect you to be like, hey, I'm going to work with you in 9 years.
I also was very different, but I really wonder if I ever saw you there. They had $5 Waushis, and honey, when you were inebriated and over the age of 21, they are so good. Ugh, I love that place.
Oh, dude, their condiment bar with the hummus, the tahina.
By the time I was there, it was all strewn about. It was all a mess.
Same. Though the spicy sauce is in the yogurt.
Nobody cared.
Oh my God.
But you know what? It was so good, and I hope
Incredible.
everyone can try this too. I love Bella Pita.
Best restaurant in all of Los Angeles. I know I've said certain things. It is Bella Pita. It is 9 feet by 9 feet.
It's so tiny.
One dude working there, and it is the greatest.
And they'll remember you.
They'll remember you. The guy, I'd walk in, the guy would just go, "Hey, falafel guy," and I'd be like, "What's up, dude?"
$5 bean waushi.
You got the black bean waushi. I've never had it, and I always wondered who got the black bean waushi.
That was me, Josh.
Almost always got falafel there.
No, I always got the black bean waushi.
If you wanted lamb, you went to Shawarma King across the
which
street.
is closed now, by the way. So sad.
Ugh.
Okay, next one. I'm sorry. We're getting really insular right now. I just really had to bring it up.
But Shawarma King, they would do the batata on top.
They had
fried potatoes.
I loved Shawarma King. I loved Shawarma King.
R.I.P. Shawarma King. You were the king.
I would have disagreed maybe a year ago, but I think that kimchi goes along with 90% of food.
Oh.
Thank you. I love your podcast.
Thank you. I love you. I love kimchi. I had a side of kimchi today with my noodles. They go together, whatever. I love kimchi.
Is that kimchi in the fridge up for grabs though?
I'm taking it home because it doesn't have shrimp in it.
Dang
and it's kosher.
I really wanted the
kosher
shrimp.
style.
I fully agree. Going to Korean barbecue so much and having all the banchan, all the different styles of kimchi, white kimchi, radish kimchi, normal like red Napa cabbage kimchi. Yeah. It's ruined other food experiences for me because I'm like, why don't I have a delicious pickled, refreshing vegetable,
spicy,
bursting with flavor next to me?
It's true.
Legit, I love Chinese hot pot because I love wet foods and I love soup. But there's no banchan to go with it, and I'm like mad. And I know I'm not expecting them to have it, but Yeah, I agree with that. I will at home often just have a side of it. I'll be eating a bean burrito or something.
It's so good.
And I'll always have a little side of kimchi because it's a nice little cleanse.
I always have
bites.
like a side of like something like vinegary on the side. If it's torshi, if it's kimchi, if it's
escabeche.
It doesn't matter. There's always, for some reason recently, I always have like a side of something pickled or vinegary to cut through my food.
How recent?
I don't know.
Never mind.
Are you asking?
Next one. It's a thing.
No.
Legally, I'm not asking.
No.
But you said that. Okay, it's like never mind. It's like watching a movie and like a female character just gets up to throw up randomly, and you're like, okay, what bad storytelling?
No. I'm not what you
no,
think
if you
I
are,
am.
it's
I'm
great.
not what you think I am.
I will love the baby.
I am not what you think I am. I am not. Of course you're going to love it. You're going to be his or her uncle.
What?
Yeah.
Like biologically?
Oh
Is it John's? Is it my brother's?
No. Oh my God.
We don't use the term uncle like that.
uncle.
Like my
You never call like your like dad's friend.
He didn't have
Uncle
friends.
Blanco.
He borrowed money from all of them and then they stopped talking to
You
him.
never like so you never like calls him like Uncle John or like
No.
oh see like I have like all of my dad's friends are like my uncles.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's context. and
They're like
clarity.
my uncles. They're not
I'll
my
be your
dad's
baby's uncle.
I'm not pregnant.
I know. Win the time. If you do have kids eventually, I will be your baby's uncle.
Okay.
Cheese and rice.
Deal.
Golly.
Thanks.
Oh, we have very
As someone from
good paternity leave policies at Mythical.
Oh man.
As someone from Philly,
Go
I
Birds.
just have some thoughts and feelings that I need to get out about a cheesesteak.
Go ahead.
Number one, it's a cheesesteak. If anywhere is calling it a Philly cheesesteak, run.
Yeah.
Do not order it. It is not a Philly cheesesteak. It is a cheesesteak. If you're
Okay.
ordering something called Philly cheesesteak, it's not going to be right.
It's a very
Don't
Philly
get
opinion,
it.
yeah.
Yes,
Number
ma'am.
two, peppers and mushrooms. What the heck is with that? They do not belong
What the
on
heck
a
is that?
cheesesteak. You get onions and you get cheese.
I also
Long
agree with
hots
this.
are acceptable, however.
I
What's
do agree with
acceptable?
this, a
Doing
long
peppers
hot.
and mushrooms on there. No. That is not a
Mhm.
Philly cheesesteak. And a little shout out, Josh. I do appreciate your Philly cheesesteak hoagie.
Hoagie.
I did say Philly cheesesteak, but your cheesesteak hoagie comment. Correct. Cheesesteak hoagies. I understand why you'd be scared to order them. There's a time and a place for that. But shout out to you for using hoagie. Basically, end of the day, a cheesesteak is cheese, sometimes onions, sometimes long hots, depending on the preference. Nothing else. Go Birds!
Go Birds!
There were so many words in there that I didn't understand.
Like what?
Long pepper hoagie.
Long hot? Go down to
Yeah.
Constitution Hall, get yourself a hoagie.
Okay, what is a cheese? She said cheesesteak hoagie.
So a cheesesteak hoagie is where you get a cheesesteak that also has like lettuce, tomato, and all the toppings of a hoagie on it. It is a very controversial order.
I don't like that.
I do order it occasionally. It is fun. But
You need the vegetables.
you need the vegetables, and sometimes I like that interplay of hot and
Sure,
cold. It's
I
like
get
getting a big old like taco salad. You
Yeah,
know what I
I
mean?
like
But
it,
the
I
cheesesteak version. Yeah, long hots are just like it's an Italian long hot pepper
Are they
that's
kinda
been grilled.
bitter?
Yeah, they're
Oh.
super bitter and they're great.
Okay, I had a lot of those in Turkey, and
Yeah.
they're Turkey, and they're very bitter.
Yeah, I love it.
You like it?
Yeah,
Okay.
or they'll be called like Hungarian long hots sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
like squiggly a little on
Thick
the side.
skin on them, not a ton of flesh.
Yeah.
I really love it when it gets blistered, especially you marinate it in olive oil, stuff like that.
I'll
and a lot
give
of
it
the
another
places are
shot.
doing that.
Yeah.
But you need the bitterness to counter all the cheese. Hilarious that you said not to call it a Philly cheesesteak, which I've heard that opinion a lot, and like I'll only do it for clarity's sake.
Yeah.
But then she herself called it a Philly cheesesteak, which is a very Philly thing to do. Listen, we're from Philly, f***ing Philly. No one likes us. We don't care. Sorry, Maggie.
Did you say the F word right now?
I said the F. Okay,
You're
we'll
gonna
go back. We'll
disintegrate
go back.
into
We'll
a
go
puddle of
back.
sand.
Oh no, we're allowed to curse,
you
but we
forget that's
decided
in-
that we're not.
Josh,
doing.
did you forget that that's in your contract?
That is a
if you say
direct.
the F word,
That is a direct quote from Jason Kelsey, American Hero. Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Agreed. The mushrooms and peppers are there to weed out the out of towners.
Oh, okay.
You don't order them.
I get. Okay. I've never been to Philly.
Also, Jason Kelsey put mayonnaise on his cheesesteak.
Do you think I should go to Philly?
Philly's a really great place. Absolutely lovely city. Tons and tons of history.
Philly's in. I always ask this because I forget. Philly's
What are you
in
about to say?
Pennsylvania.
What are you're about to say? Is Philly in Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Sometimes I feel
my
like
God.
I forget. Hey.
But it's
I
only
forget
like a
sometimes.
3-hour drive from New York. Philly was the original capital of the United States of America.
I know
so they
that.
have-
I know that.
Yeah, the Liberty Bell, Benjamin
I've
Franklin,
watched every season of It's Always
Constitution
Sunny.
Hall. Yeah,
I've watched
so you've
every
basically
single
been to
season.
Philly.
Yeah. Right.
Go to the Reading Terminal Market.
Wrigley Field.
No, God, that's Chicago. The Link. You go to the Link.
The link. I'm sorry.
This used to be called Veterans Stadium.
You can drink a lot.
You can drink. I did drink a lot. I went to some great dive bars.
There? Does it ever
Very
snow?
Cold.
Does it
oh my
snow?
God, yes. And it is cold as all hell. But I had like the best Lebanese brunch I've ever had at a place called Soraya.
Oh, nice.
I went to the Reading Terminal Market and I got a Tommy the Nick's roast pork sandwich and then had a half a Peking duck for dessert at 9 a.m. It was a fantastic time. Ate some fantastic food. Middle Child Clubhouse. Oh, so good. One of the best cocktails I've ever had. They had something
sounds good.
And this is a very Philly attitude for a fancy restaurant. They had something called a trash can Amaro, where they took, if there was less than one shot in any bottle of Amaro, they poured it into a trash can and then they mix it up and they sell each shot of it for half price.
That sounds so good.
It was great.
Sounds like my kind of town.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
And on that note, thank you so much for stopping by the podcast. We got new audio-only episodes every Wednesday, new videos out on Friday.
That's right. If you listener, if you want to be featured on Opinions Are Like Casseroles, you can hit us up at 833-DOG-POD1. The number again is 833-DOG-POD1.
Bye now.
For more Mythical Kitchen, check us out on YouTube. We launch new videos every week. We'll see you next time. Mwah.